What's up, everybody? It's your boy JP, back again with another video. And today, I not only have the Realme GT, but this is the much anticipated Realme GT Global Edition. That's right, the Global Realme GT. And just to kind of give you a little bit of proof, bam. Android with easy access to the Google apps you use most. You've seen that on Xiaomi boxes before for their global phones. I actually did get my hands on the Chinese variant of this phone. And unfortunately, it was like a lot of the old school Chinese Xiaomi phones. With the exception of 5G. I did get 5G working on it. But all of the other issues that I used to have with Chinese Xiaomi phones, like voicemail and visual voicemail, I'm alright if one of those works. I'll get over it, even if it's the less convenient one. But, your older Xiaomi phones, especially when especially since AT&T is starting to change their network over to VoLTE completely and just do away with 3G, it's, and I think that's what has something to do with the incompatibility as well. Because the phones aren't provisioned for AT&T service, or AT&T's services, I should say. And that's kind of where the hiccups come in from. And I had that problem with the Chinese variant of the Realme GT, or else I would have had a video on it a couple months back. This was one of those phones, this phone has been out in China since like February, I think. This was like one of the first Snapdragon 888 powered phones. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it was the second, only behind the original, the standard, I should say, the standard Xiaomi Mi 11. And it took forever for it to be available globally. And they just had an event on the global model like not even a month ago. And as soon as I noticed that sellers I commonly use over eBay were they had just started, some of them had just started selling the Chinese variant a couple weeks ago, and then I was actually searching for something else at the time, and then I saw that these same sellers had the global variant finally. So I quickly snagged one up. I think I got it the first day it was it was available from a U.S. seller, and got it overnighted. Of course, the weekend kind of prevented me from actually getting it overnight, because it was late Thursday when I ordered it, and of course it ships out Friday. And of course I didn't get it till Monday, because of the weekend. But yeah, it's here. It's here. There's a lot of things to say. This phone works way better than the Chinese variant. Again, the Chinese one was very reminiscent of a lot of the Chinese Xiaomi phones I used to deal with in the past, and they're not so bad anymore. Once you sideload Google Play, which is super easy as long as GMS is built in, it's all easy sailing. I mean, everything works, including voicemail. Including it was hit or miss. Usually voicemail didn't work. The dialed voicemail, the old school voicemail, but visual voicemail still worked. Which is the more convenient one, anyways, obviously. But I've a few of those Xiaomi phones. I was able to get both to work, not just the global ones. And the Chinese Realme GT was it was easy to install Google Play. I mean, literally 2 clicks. It already had GMS built in, and you just went to the little Realme store that it had, and you just searched Google Play, and there it was. I mean, it was simple, but it just the voicemail, I couldn't get voicemails at all, like non-existent, and I have to have my voicemails. I just couldn't review a device like that, because I knew it wasn't the device's fault; it was AT&T, but I just It just didn't bode well. But here we go with the global Realme GT, and much anticipated. Luckily, luckily it didn't take long to get one when they were finally launched globally. You know, by the time this one came out, there's already tons of Snapdragon 888 powered phones out now. But this remains one of the fastest ones, and I could see why. Really quick, let's go over the specs here really quick. Here's some on the box here. Has the 65-watt super dark charge right there, and check that out. You even get a pair of headphones with the mic, I might add. Check that out. Does this even have? I don't know if it even has a headphone jack. Ah, it does. Look at that. Your speaker, your USB Type C. I mean, check this bad boy out. This thing is sexy. Let me turn it off here. Look at that. Different colored power button, like it's a gold color. Actually, I like that. I just now realized that. And yeah, I mean it's beautiful. The video's coming out a little grainy. I'm not sure why. Sorry, y'all. But not doing that on purpose here. But yeah, beautiful device. I think it's Gorilla Glass front and back, and it does have the. I'm trying to see that bezel. I don't know if it's aluminum or plastic. Honestly, I don't see antenna bands going through it, so I have to say it's plastic, honestly, even though it looks metal. I could be wrong either way, but if I'm not mistaken, it needs, if it was metal, it would have to have those antenna bands going through it there. But nonetheless, it is a fantastic device. Fantastic. And go back to the specs here. 120 hertz Super AMOLED. Full screen, obviously. They're talking about the little punch hole right there, of course, you know. And it is rather small on this phone. It is rather small. I don't see the little silver lining that goes around it that a lot of people hate. That's a good thing as well. And it's not as small as a lot of your Xiaomi phones have, but it's nowhere near the biggest, which is great. You know, I mean, that's still good. And of course, it does have the Sony 64 megapixel triple camera setup. One of those lenses is ultra wide. And yeah, I mean, it's you know, has your dual flash. And yeah, it's a blazing fast phone. It definitely feels faster and more fluid than a lot of Snapdragon 888 power phones that I've you know have been able to use this year and play with. And that's surprising, you know, because the you know, as far as the Chinese version goes, if we're judging that one, it's been out since February. And this is, what is today? It is July 26th as of the recording of this video. But I got it today, and very excited. Very excited. I've wanted this phone for a long time. Really, you know, a lot of people are going to... oh, by the way, this does have 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal memory. No expandable, no expansion slot. Yeah, make sure I'm telling y'all right there. And you know what, too, y'all? While we're thinking about it here, check out those bands. Look at all those frequencies. 5G NR, N5, which is AT&T. And yes, 5G works wonderfully on this phone. Works wonderfully. I have it tilted like this so it doesn't show my IMEI. But you can see the date of manufacture is June 7th. But to say, been very happy, to say the least. I really have been using it all day, and it's been fantastic. It's just snappy. You know, when Oppo, really quick, okay, y'all know Realme is a sub-brand of Oppo. And of course, Oppo is a brand under the BBK umbrella, the BBK Electronics, which also owns OnePlus and Vivo. And of course, Vivo has its own sub-brand, IQ. Realme calls their interface the Realme UI, but it's Color OS from Oppo. And, when they announced that Oppo and OnePlus were merging, a lot of people were worried that they were going to lose Oxygen OS in favor of Color OS. And when OnePlus just announced the Nord 2 the other day with the Dimensity 1200 AI chipset, they also announced that it was the first OnePlus phone to feature the merged Oxygen OS and Color OS. Color OS is not replacing Oxygen OS; they're merging them. And I don't have many videos of Oppo's phones or Realme phones, but I know I had a couple from last year, and I was actually impressed out of Color OS. A lot of people, I guess, they're just scared because they feel like they're going to lose the stockish feel that Oxygen OS brings, and they think that Color OS, kind of differentiates from that. But if y'all haven't noticed already, the OnePlus 8 last year was the first device that I started noticing this. You notice how Oxygen OS got a lot more bubbly. And at that point when the OnePlus 8 came out, it was, which was April or May of last year, they actually were already starting to merge the two. I had previous experience already with Color OS, and I had more experience with Color OS later on last year. And Oxygen OS has already been going through that convergence that they just didn't announce it, and you didn't really find out about it until recently, this week, this month, whatever. And it's it's already been happening right in front of your eyes. Not with the OnePlus 9, but with the OnePlus 8 from last year. So it was already happening. And I'm gonna tell y'all from my experience, the Color OS is great. Honestly, I like it. I like it more than everyone's other favorite UI other than Oxygen OS, which is Samsung's One UI. Because to me, One UI is still too heavy. To me, it's still way too heavy. It's not anything like Nature UI used to be. It's definitely a lot cleaner. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind One UI. I can live with it. Nature, I couldn't. I can live with One UI. But Color OS to me is better than that. Oxygen OS takes the best of stock Android and just kind of, and OnePlus kind of just added their own things to it. And their things weren't gimmicky like everyone else's, like Motorola does. With their stockish UI, and Oxygen always seemed to be a little bit better than Motorola's. Color OS, it's not for everybody. But then again, Oxygen OS isn't for everybody. A lot of people like the fact that your Samsung phones are so differentiated from other Android phones. It's always like, you have Android and you had Samsung. So, I mean, and you don't even have to be a Samsung fanboy to realize that. The Pixels are supposed to be the iPhones of Android, but it always ends up being the Samsungs that people, if you were to go out and survey people, they're going to tell you that they consider Samsung Android phones to be the iPhones of Android, even though even though they're not intended to be. The Pixels are intended to be, which we'll see more so with the Pixel 6. But this phone is the Color OS is, of course, this isn't the best example because this is meant to have Color OS. This is not a OnePlus phone. This is going to be something and actually the Nord 2 was actually what I was searching for when I found out that the global version of this phone had just became available that very same day. I was like the first buyer. It was just a coincidence. Because these sellers that got them, and it's more than one, they had just started selling the Chinese version a couple weeks ago. And, and I actually had gotten my hands on the Realme GT Neo as well. And which has the regular Dimensity 1200, and they had the same issues out of it because it was a Chinese variant. They're definitely behind Xiaomi when it comes to their Chinese phones and how well equipped they actually are for this side of the world, and stuff like that, even with GMS built in. But the Nord 2 will be a better example if and when I get that, as to what I'm talking about with the combination. But this phone using purely color OS with no merge. Of course, they call it Realme UI here because it's a Realme phone, quote unquote. It doesn't say Oppo anywhere. But Realme is a sub-brand of Oppo. And there's no difference between Realme UI and color OS. Anybody would tell you that. That's used these phones. Oxygen OS has started looking more and more like color OS since the OnePlus 8. And all color OS does, it still has a stockish Android feel. It just adds more customizations, more things on top of Oxygen OS. And then, as the name implies, it's more colorful. Color OS. But as I said, the OnePlus 8, things were already starting to get bubbly at that time anyways. And I know that because I had a OnePlus 7T 5G McLaren from T-Mobile. And then I, for a very short while, had a regular OnePlus 8, which I was not impressed with. That 7T McLaren I was impressed with. But there was no other device in between those. So you could see when the transition started happening. Because the 7T 5G McLaren was still, Oxygen OS as you knew it, It wasn't bubbly. I mean, it might be now because of updates. I'm not sure. I haven't used or had it in quite a while. But nonetheless, y'all do not sleep on this phone. This phone is freaking amazing. This is one of those phones I had to pay for out of pocket. And I was actually purchasing at the time the new Moto G100, which just became available in the US as well on Thursday. I had just purchased that, and then I saw this, and I didn't want both because I also wanted to get either the OnePlus Nord 2 or the Poco F3 GT, which were both announced last week, and they both went up for sale today overseas. So I'm waiting for them to become available, via US sellers that I trust, and in which I can purchase and have overnighted. And I'm assuming that those are very popular phones, so it shouldn't really take long at all for sellers to sell to get their hands on those to sell. Unlike with phones like these that are less known. I just this and the Moto G100 were the same price. But this right here, you're getting an AMOLED with the Snapdragon 888 versus an LCD and the Snapdragon 870. Granted, the Moto G100 does have expandable memory. And I do still, like Flossie Carter says, I still consider the Snapdragon 870 a current generation flagship processor. As he says, flagship specs, bro. Flagship specs. But, this was just, for the same price. I mean, I paid like $495 for this. And for reference, these same sellers sell the Chinese variant for $45 less. And I'm telling y'all, the global one is worth that extra $45, and that's not far off from what they sell for overseas, anyways. I honestly don't even see how they're even making profit. I mean, that's really an unbeatable price. This is probably the cheapest Snapdragon 888 phone, because the one phone that I had recently that I did not get a chance to do a video on was the Red Magic 6R. I had a video up of the Red Magic 6, but not the 6R. But I did have the 6R, and that was $500. This is $495, and it feels snappy. Well, no, I wouldn't say it feels about the same. That 6R actually was pretty snappy, honestly. But I just like the interface on this a lot more, and it's just it's great. It's great. I'm gonna show you a little bit of color OS here, but there's your reading material, your clear gel case that comes with it there, and it's a really nice package. I have like I said, I know I've said this a million times, but I've been thoroughly impressed with this phone here. And let's see here. Let me see if I can get into the settings here. There we go. Okay. I'm trying to do it through the phone, so it's I'm trying to look over it through the phone I'm using to record this with. So, like I said, it's not the phone. The phone is extremely snappy. It's me. I'm toning it down a little bit here. Maybe it won't be as grainy here. Let's see. But this is the dark mode, and just kind of trying to get some of that lint out of the way on the screen there. You see my fingerprints already, my greasy fingers. But it's let me see here. Give me a sec, y'all. Just giving y'all a little look around here. It's not. It's not too far off from Oxygen OS, honestly. I mean, it's just, people are scared for nothing. People are worried about it for nothing. I haven't been the biggest OnePlus fan lately like I used to be. I used to be huge. I used to be my favorite brand. But one of the reasons I fell out of love with OnePlus had nothing to do with Oxygen OS and its changes. I still love it just as much, and this phone feels like Oxygen OS. It's just a little bit more colorful. People are all worried, like, oh my god, if it merges with Color OS, I'm ditching OnePlus, and yeah, OnePlus didn't handle that right, because they did say a month ago that it's not going to happen, and then they started telling their employees not to say anything when questioned about it outside of work. And then they ended up doing it. I don't know what their purpose was in going about it the way that they did. But obviously they were genuinely worried about losing customers too. I guess the uncertainty just scared people. But there's nothing to be worried about. I mean, there's not really a whole lot I can show you with Color OS, because it's already like Oxygen OS. I mean, it's just this phone is it's been great. It's been great, and I've already gamed on it. Genshin Impact the new 2.0 update works flawlessly. That Switch emulator works fantastically. The cameras are good. The display is just absolutely gorgeous. It charges fast. It's just it's just wicked fast. Really quick. I mean, hey, just for the hell of it, let's give it a smell test here. Ooh. Do that again. Y'all, men specifically, I guess ladies too, ladies as well. If y'all date women, men, and again, ladies that date women, that date other ladies, which of course I have absolutely nothing against there. I just wanted to kind of, I didn't want to leave anybody out from what I'm about to say, because that smell test was. Have y'all ever went out on a date and you just met the girl, you asked her out, she said yes, you couldn't believe it, like, oh my god, this girl is so freaking gorgeous. She didn't even hesitate to say yeah. And you're not cheap, you got money to spend, and you just want to go all out and just impress this girl. You're not trying to meet a gold digger, but you just want to leave a great first impression, and she's just gorgeous and just and it's like, oh my gosh, she actually said yeah. And you prepare for this date, and you just have you're just ready to do whatever it takes. You go out on this date, and this girl, when y'all discuss dinner, she tells you, you don't even have to hint it. You don't even have to drive by it. I mean, it's the last place we even think about going. Especially on this nice date that you just ready to impress and just spend whatever you got to do, spend whatever you got to spend, do whatever you got to do. And this girl tells you that she wants to go to Applebee's for the 2 for $20. And then she also wants to take advantage of those dollar margaritas. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And she's dead on serious. You take her there. Your bill is freaking super cheap. Of course, you give your server a good tip, or your bartender. You make sure to give them a good tip. I'm all about, I work on tips myself in my main job, so I'm all about tipping. But it's just cheap. Like, it's like you're spending a fraction of what you thought you were going to spend, and you were willing to spend that money. So I mean, you weren't even sweating about it. And then it's like the night just progresses and it gets better and better, and it just ends so lovely, ends fantastically. And I mean, y'all are already talking about the next date, something that she brought up. She's all into you. It's just like, oh my God, like I didn't even spend a lot of money, and I just went out on like the best date of my freaking life. It's like this is a flagship broad that I didn't spend flagship money on. That's what this phone smells like, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this phone smells like, right there. Flagship, just about all the way around. And it didn't even burn a hole in your pocket. This thing will happily go up against any of your friends' $1,000 phones, $1,000 Samsungs. And it'll even beat it in a lot of those instances too. And the instances where, I couldn't talk straight. In the instances where it couldn't beat it, it matched it. Maybe not so much in the camera department. The camera is great on this phone, but again, that's kind of where these, these value phones kind of skimp out when compared to those $1,000 phones. But y'all, I'm telling y'all, do not sleep on this phone. The Realme GT, this phone is hot. All right, y'all. Hit me up in the comments. Sorry I went to that long explanation of a smell test. I know y'all were not expecting that, and I literally did that on the fly. That was not thought of. But hit me up in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace out. Man, y'all, I had to come back really quick and add something to this video here, to this overview of mine. I know it's already long, but hear me out here. This is something else that makes the Realme GT a great phone. Again, this is the global variant. I've actually had this video, the other portions of this video done like 2 weeks ago, but I've gotten in a few more devices, and the day after I made that video, I had noticed this. May have even been a couple days after. And I was like, I'm glad I didn't post that video because I want to add this to the end of it. And again, I apologize. I know it's already long. I do need to try to get better about that. I know I keep saying that. But this is yet another feature that makes this phone so great. I read about this, a month or so before I had gotten it. I knew that this phone had it. I knew it was a software update that was going to add it to the phone. And the Chinese variant had gotten it first, but I had no experience with that. Mine was, had done came and gone. But the global variant got this update as well, and it is really pretty cool. I mean, it's something new. This phone features virtual RAM. Again, my model is the 8 gig with 128 gigs internal, and the update I got, I think it was like the day of or the next day when I had shot the other portion of this video. Again, I just didn't post it yet, which I'm going to now. But if you look right here, it added this right here where you see that +5. You see how it says RAM 8.00 GB, and then it says +5. If you can click it. and seeing it. And now every company right now, they're coming out with this, and they have different names for it. ZTE is doing it. Xiaomi's doing it. They're doing it with their sub brands, Redmi and Pogo. BBK is doing it across the board on their phones. And all of their phones, they call it something different. Like Vivo has its own name for it, or IQ rather, which is, Vivo's Vivo's already a sub brand, but IQ is their sub brand, just like how Realme, just like what Realme is to Oppo. Oppo's already a sub brand, and Realme's a sub brand of that. But they all, even though they work under the same umbrella, they all have different names for it. OnePlus is going to have it too, which will probably be the same name since they're merging Oxygen OS and Color OS. And speaking of which, I do have the OnePlus Nord 2 on deck, which is supposed to be the first phone that merges the two OSs. And I'll be doing a video on that pretty soon too. But now, of course, that doesn't have the update for this yet, but this phone right here has it. And so you can turn it on, the RAM expansion, and you can expand it by 2 gigs, 3 gigs, or 5 gigs. And obviously, I got to expand it to 5 gigs. But it essentially just takes that away from your internal storage. Even with 128 gigs, I'm not going to miss that 5 gigs of RAM right there. That's just really awesome, man. I mean, it makes a difference in benchmarks. It's almost as if it's running with, and that's such an odd number, 13 gigs. But I just think that's just, I could tell a difference. It's really cool. I mean, if you think about it, after 12 gigs of RAM, the next option is 16 gigs. So I've essentially given this phone more than 12 gigs of RAM. More than it's included 8, more than 12. It has 13. Some companies are bumping it up 7 gigabytes instead of just 5. ZTE is actually doing 8 gigabytes. They have the Axon 30, not to be confused with the Axon 30 Ultra. The Axon 30 is the one with the under-display, front-facing second-generation camera, and it has a Snapdragon 870 instead of the 888. But it has it comes with like 12 gigs of RAM, and you can expand it up to 20. That was just recently like news over the weekend on your tech sites if y'all have been reading those. But yeah, you can just slide it to whatever, and it's just really cool. And of course, it has to reboot whenever you do that. I don't have to reboot it because I'm leaving it at 5. But you don't always, that wasn't there before until you do the update. And the update tells you about it, though. So just some really good information I want to pass around. Another really cool feature about this phone and why I like it so much. Anyways, again, sorry for the length here, y'all. I hope y'all like it. Sorry for the rambling. But this is a great phone. Y'all pick it up. And I will see you on the next video. Peace out.